In 2010, an acquaintance asked me to go work for him selling door-to-door vacuums. I had just lost my job and was desperate. He told me that he planned to run the office soon and I would be sure to sell. I also thought he was cute and believed I had a chance with him. On my first day, I find out he was already dating someone in the same office. She was not very pretty. She was always smiling, which really got on my nerves. It felt so fake. When she wasn't working, she was reading. It was as if she thought she was better than me. She was promoted in the organization and spent less time with her boyfriend. We worked from sunup to sundown Mondays through Saturdays. At that point, he and I began flirting. At first, it was small little things, a little smile here and there. He would let me ride passenger with him when we drove around looking for houses to sell vacuums, etc. I had no loyalties to the girlfriend. Besides, like I said, she got on my nerves. One day, she and the guy get into an argument and the guy and I were sent to an area far from where the office was. This meant we needed to get a hotel. We spent Valentine's Day together and had a wonderful time. When we got back, he broke it off with her and decided to stay with me. A few days later, she tells him she is pregnant. I thought she was lying. Apparently, it was true. At first, he stayed loyal to me, and I must admit I was not mature about it. I would throw it in her face that he was with me whenever I had a chance. As her belly grew, he grew distant. I realized that he was trying to work things with his pregnant ex. He even humiliated me in front of my coworkers when he told me we were not together. I was so confused. Later, I found out why, and I was not going to let him or her get away with humiliating me like this. The day before their first sonogram, I went to his house. They did not live together. She owned a condo, and he lived in a community house with other salesmen. They were planning to move in together once she got rid of her roommates. I went to his place. We had drinks and ended up spending the night together. In the morning, the girlfriend called. He was in the shower, so I answered his phone. When I told her he was in the shower, she flipped. It was so satisfying. I just wish I could have seen her face ugly crying. Well, she quit her job, so I didn't get to throw it in her face that I had won. In a week's time, she moved out of her condo, sold her car, and moved in with her parents. In a week's time, I had ruined her life. She had no home, no car, no boyfriend, and pregnant. I had won. I knew I had finally taken that stupid toothy smile away from good. My now boyfriend was upset that he didn't know where his baby was, though. We decided we were going to take the baby as well. How dare she leave without telling the father where his baby was? I knew we had to have some legal recourse in the matter. We knew which state she was in, and eventually she would ask for child support and that would be our chance. Eventually, we both forgot about her and the baby and moved on with our lives. Occasionally, she would show up on social media and attack us. We just kept blocking everything so she couldn't write on our social media accounts. Later, I would come to find out that my boyfriend was the one instigating it. He would call her out of the blue looking for her to let him back into her and the baby's lives. She would get upset and retaliate. She didn't want him in their lives at all. I also didn't want him leaving me, so I started to mess with her when I could. After a few years, I found out that he had contacted her again. This time she was ready to talk and let him see the baby.
Not on my watch.
I waited until he was asleep and texted her as him that he was still with me. She wrote back that not only was she married, but she also didn't want him back. She just wanted to do the right thing for her son. But since I had already threatened to take her son from her, she changed her mind. She also sent him screenshots of my message to him and told him to kick rocks. Well, after 7 years, I realized he was scum. He didn't get the office he told me he would run. We were living paycheck to paycheck after he promised we would have the office, money, and an amazing life. He had a son who his mother was raising, and I was going to get to be his new mom. All the plans to get custody of his other son were forgotten. He didn't even pay to support either one. We had to move in with roommates. He was fired, and we both had to go work selling telephones. Then the cherry on top, he took my promotion. That was the last straw. 7 years wasted on this idiot. He had 2 children that he didn't take care of. What did I get myself into? I let him have it via text and we broke up. I even moved out of state to Hollywood. No, not that Hollywood. Florida. Now I am 46 and feel like I wasted a huge chunk of my life on this man. I decided to make the most of it. I traveled, had a lot of fun, visited my family, made new friends, and tried to pick up the pieces of my life. As the holidays got close this year, I wondered what happened to his ex. I did a deep dive into her life. I found out she got the life she was expecting with her ex. She got the life I expected with my ex. She became an executive in an amusement park and sells homemade marshmallows on the side for fun. Her husband has a business flipping houses. They are both raising the little boy now, a teenager. They are always camping, hiking, and RVing all over the US. She still has that stupid toothy smile after all. And I realized I am alone for another holiday. Not quite alone. I do have my family that I visit when I can. I ruined this girl's life and she was able to not just move forward, but thrived. That is when I realized I was paying for the consequences of my actions. I wanted to win so bad, but all I got was a consolation prize. I took her problem, our ex, and made it my problem. If they would have stayed together, they would have been the ones living paycheck to paycheck, and perhaps I would have met my Prince Charming. I know that karma is a bitch, but I think I paid for my mistakes.